high atop the battlements of CaptainCurmudgeon, where we traditionally celebrate the final week of December by taking a good long look around the kitchen and saying, well, this alcohol ain't gonna drink itself. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to 2025's final edition of the Blast Radio. So good to have you with us tonight. We hope you and yours had an edifying and convivial Christmas. And to the England cricket team, congratulations, boys, on winning the Boxing Day test at the MCG and thus claiming your first outright victory in an Ashes match on Australian soil since dinosaurs walked the earth, or at least it seems like it was about that long. Now, is it highly regrettable that you chaps only started winning games after you had suffered 3 vicious, merciless ass-kickings at the hands of those dirty kangaroo-humping convicts in the first 3 matches and the series was thus already decided? Well, as a matter of fact, yes, it very much is. But that is not important now, because if you're an England fan who spent untold thousands of pounds flying down to the arse end of the world to go and support your team, then by God, you will take what you can get. Even if it entails a near-fatal case of heat stroke, the worst sunburn your pasty English self ever suffered, and 6 weeks spent fending off constant attacks by insects the size of small birds. Which is to say, if nothing else, your holiday in Australia will have led you to conclude, yeah, I can totally see why we send our criminals down here as punishment. Meanwhile, back here in the civilized world, where Christmas is in the middle of winter and not the middle of goddamn summer, and the correct stars appear in the sky, in the proud tradition of last week's highly successful and much beloved countdown of the 100 worst people in the history of Christmas, we now present for your consideration, wait for it, it's going to blow your mind, it's a very drastic thematic departure, the 100 worst people in the history of New Year's. So without any further ado, let's light this candle and drop this ball and all that other good stuff that you do. Number 100, 1582. Several European countries wake up on January 1st, still unsure which calendar they are supposed to be using. The Gregorian reform is now technically in effect, but it remains culturally optional, much like taking off your bikini top at a nude beach. Some people celebrate New Year's twice, others not at all. Time becomes more of a suggestion. History begins the year with a heavy dose of clerical shrugging. Number 99, 153 BC. The Roman Republic moves the start of the consular year to January 1st. This decision is made primarily for administrative convenience, which is, of course, how nearly all sacred traditions tend to begin. Politics officially hijacks the calendar. Saturnalia side-eyes the memo. Civilization updates its terms of service. Number 98, 45 BC. Julius Caesar debuts the Julian calendar, which he has very modestly named after himself on January 1st. He fixes time itself using mathematics, ego, and absolute inscrutable authority. This works for about 16 centuries, which by Roman standards is something akin to a rounding error. Leap years are introduced. Confusion volunteers for a long-term contract. Number 97, 567 AD. The Council of Tours decides that January 1st is just too darn pagan to be New Year's Day. Europe immediately begins celebrating New Year's on several different dates. Unity is achieved in theory only. Calendars splinter like so many heresies. Everyone argues while also missing deadlines. Number 96, the 1200s AD. Medieval England observes New Year's on March 25th during this period. France observes it on Easter. Italy sort of improvises from year to year. Nobody agrees, but everyone keeps records anyway. This is the origin of international paperwork resentment. Time zones are still waiting in the wings. Number 95, 1691. Scotland officially moves New Year's Day to January 1st. The English calendar wins on points. Hogmanay is invented as an emotional coping mechanism. Revolution making becomes aggressive. Bells ring, regret limbers up. Number 94, 1752. Britain adopts the Gregorian calendar and loses 11 days overnight. September simply skips ahead. People accuse the government of stealing time. This is the most honest complaint that citizens have perhaps ever made. New Year's arrives slightly traumatized. Number 93, 1793. Revolutionary France introduces a new calendar to reboot reality. Weeks are now 10 days long. Months are renamed after the weather. January 1st is canceled entirely. Time is nationalized. Even the future refuses to comply. Number 92, 1844. The Millerites predict the end of the world, miss the date, and then reschedule. New Year's optimism meets apocalyptic overconfidence. The second coming is delayed for clerical reasons. Faith recalibrates. Time survives another audit. Number 91, 1899. Newspapers confidently predict what the year 1900 will bring. Flying cars are expected. And we are still 4 years away from flying airplanes. War is considered obsolete. Humanity congratulates itself in advance. The 20th century reads all of this with a giggle and begins craning its knuckles. Number 90, 1066. William the Conqueror is crowned King of England on Christmas Day, ensuring heavy doses of New Year's awkwardness. Norman rule begins with pageantry and unresolved resentment. The English nobility politely simmers while refusing to learn French. Everyone pretends this was scheduled. The hangover lasts centuries. Number 89, 1622. Pope Gregory XV declares January 1st as a holy day of obligation. God officially endorses administrative clarity. Catholics are instructed to pray about timekeeping. Protestants roll their eyes on principle. Heaven quietly files the paperwork. Number 88, 1700. Russia adopts the Julian calendar's January 1st as its own new year. Peter the Great drags his empire into modernity by brute force. Beards are taxed. Time is westernized. Everyone pretends it was their idea. Number 87, 1772. The first recorded New Year's Eve fireworks display is staged in London. Explosions are introduced as a timekeeping method. Noise becomes tradition. Sleep files a grievance. This decision echoes forever. Number 86, 1801. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland officially forms on January 1st. A geopolitical merger launches quietly. Nobody is fully satisfied. Several centuries of consequences load in the background. Confetti is implied. Number 85, 1863. The Emancipation Proclamation goes into effect on January 1st. Freedom arrives by executive order. History advances decisively. Bureaucracy does one noble thing. The calendar earns a rare moral victory. Number 84, 1892. Ellis Island opens on New Year's Day. America welcomes immigrants with paperwork and with hope. Dreams pass through inspections. Names are misspelled forever. The future queues patiently. Number 83, 1901. Queen Victoria dies shortly after New Year's begins. An era politely excuses itself. The 20th century clears its throat. Black crepe replaces optimism. Nobody notices what is warming up behind the curtain. Number 82, 1912. The Republic of China is proclaimed on January 1st. Dynasties end with a press release. Modernity shows up early. Chaos RSVPs. Maybe. History sets the table aggressively. Number 81, 1929. The Soviet Union unveils its first 5-year plan on New Year's Day. Time itself is conscripted. Reality is expected to cooperate, but it does not. The clock punches in anyway. Number 80, 1909. Manchester United plays its first match at Old Trafford on January 1st. It opens as a symbol of modern sport. Within decades, it becomes a global religion, but with better chance. The stadium is christened by optimism. The referee immediately disappoints everyone. Number 79, 1919. Babe Ruth is sold to the New York Yankees on January the 5th, retroactively ruining New Year's for Bostonians. A curse is born through bookkeeping. Hope is exchanged for cash. The 20th century grins maliciously. Sports regret enters mass production. Number 78, 1927. The first transatlantic telephone call is placed on January the 7th. The future arrives crackly and overpriced. Small talk achieves global reach. Distance officially loses. Silence sues for defamation. Number 77, 1936. The first NFL championship game is played in January. Football discovers ritualized winter misery. Fans freeze willingly. Revenue blossoms. Common sense quietly retires. Number 76, 1947. The first televised New Year's Day college bowl games air nationally. Football becomes a holiday obligation. Families argue over seating. Turkey is replaced by regret. America commits fully and enthusiastically to this new cultural rubric. Number 75, 1950. The first television broadcast of The Lone Ranger occurs near New Year's Day. Radio heroes migrate awkwardly. Masks remain popular, though nobody wears them while driving alone on the freeway. Justice is sponsored. Merchandising sharpens its knives. Number 74, 1954. The first color television broadcast of the Tournament of Roses parade. Flowers achieve technological dominance. Pageantry overwhelms engineering. America watches floats in emotional saturation. Reality loses the beauty contest. Number 73, 1958. The Baltimore Colts win the NFL championship in sudden death overtime on the 28th of December. The nation collectively forgets its New Year's plans. Football invents suspense. Resolution making is postponed indefinitely. History flexes. Number 72, 1960. The Rose Bowl is played between Washington and Wisconsin. Nobody remembers who won, though everybody remembers being there. Tradition triumphs over facts. Memory submits an incomplete report. Number 71, 1920. The first official New Year's Eve ball drop is broadcast to a national radio audience. Time becomes entertainment. Anticipation is monetized. Millions cheer rapturously over a verbal description of a descending sphere. Civilization agrees this is acceptable. Number 70, 1776. General George Washington hoists the Grand Union flag on January 1st. America celebrates a new year by inventing a new aesthetic. Stars are pending, stripes do all the heavy lifting. Rebellion tests its color palette. Number 69, 1804. Haiti declares its independence on January 1st. A successful slave revolt becomes a nation overnight. Europe clutches its pearls. Liberty shows up uninvited. History pretends not to notice for a while. Number 68, 1818. Mary Shelley publishes her novel Frankenstein in early January. Humanity celebrates the new year by inventing scientific anxiety. The monster is misunderstood. The metaphor is unsubtle. Progress asks for forgiveness, not permission. Number 67, 1863. Abraham Lincoln attends a New Year's reception and spends hours shaking hands. Democracy is performed manually. The president nearly collapses. The Union survives on laudanum and resolve. History is held together with calluses. Number 66, 1890. The U.S. Census declares the American frontier closed. The West officially runs out of elbow room. Manifest Destiny checks its watch. Mythology files a final report. The future begins indoors. Number 65, 1919. The Weimar Constitution takes effect on January the 1st. Germany inaugurates democracy with optimism and with paperwork. Structural flaws are politely ignored. History clears its throat ominously. Everyone smiles for the camera. Number 64, 1935. Monopoly is sold nationwide for the first time during the New Year's season. Capitalism gamifies itself. Families test loyalty. Friendships do not survive. Irony takes the title deed and does not pass go. Number 63, 1942. 26 nations signed the Declaration by United Nations on January the 1st. World War II officially becomes global. Allies toast grimly. Hope signs in blue ink. The stakes acquire a logo. Number 62, 1959. Fidel Castro enters Havana on New Year's Day. A revolution completes its victory lap. Beards achieve political relevance. History abruptly changes the channel. Florida real estate appreciates nervously. Number 61, 1960. Cameroon gains its independence on January the 1st. The 20th century welcomes another nation with a handshake and expectations. Optimism arrives freshly pressed. Reality waits nearby with a clipboard. Freedom clocks in for the morning shift. Number 60, 1869. The Brooklyn Bridge begins construction in January. Humanity greets the new year by daring gravity to blink first. Somebody says, trust the math. Everyone else observes from a safe distance. Number 59, 1901. Australia becomes a federation on January the 1st. 6 colonies agree to attempt being one country. The paperwork is optimistic. The spiders, though, remain undefeated. National identity loads slowly, except during the ashes. Number 58, 1914. The Ford Motor Company announces a revolutionary $5 per day wage in early January. Workers rejoice. Management panics quietly. Capitalism briefly experiments with ethics. The experiment does not last. Number 57, 1927. New Year's Day radio programming spreads nationwide. Silence officially becomes obsolete. Families stop talking, basically forever. Voices from nowhere move in permanently. Static becomes a tradition. Number 56, 1934. Alcatraz officially becomes a federal prison in January. America welcomes the new year by inventing a rock specifically for criminals. Hope is discouraged. Escape is theoretical. Unless your name is Clint Eastwood, tourism will follow. Number 55, 1946. The United Nations holds its first General Assembly in January. Humanity convenes to discuss peace using microphones. Translation errors occur almost immediately. Optimism is multilingual. Consensus remains aspirational. Number 54, 1951. The first color television broadcasts appear during New Year programming. Reality gains saturation. Nothing important improves. Sports benefit disproportionately. Culture becomes louder. Number 53, 1954. The Tournament of Roses parade is broadcast nationwide in color. America wakes up on January 1st to floats, pageantry, and weaponized cheer, though no one asked for this, but everyone watches anyway. Number 52, 1957. The original Chevy Impala debuts during the New Year season. Style officially outruns practicality. Chrome becomes a lifestyle choice. Fuel economy files a complaint. The open road exhales. Number 51, 1960. The U.S. Supreme Court resumes hearings immediately after New Year's Day. Even justice does not get an extra day off to nurse its hangover. The law wakes up, pours coffee, and keeps pretending it is timeless, but time disagrees. Number 50, 1907. The first New Year's Eve ball drop occurs in Times Square. America decides time should fall dramatically. Crowds cheer, physics sighs. A tradition is born and immediately becomes impossible to escape. Number 49, 1929. College football bowl games become entrenched as New Year's Day rituals. Higher education discovers pageantry. Student athletes provide free labor. Alumni drink before noon. Everyone agrees this is all very wholesome. Number 48, 1937. The Sugar Bowl cements New Year's football as a national obsession. Academic calendars are sacrificed willingly. Learning is postponed. Mascots assume power. This feels inevitable. Number 47, 1942. The NHL plays hockey on New Year's Day while the world is at war. Ice remains ice. Pucks remain pucks. Escapism files for overtime. Normalcy skates on anyway, at least when it's not waiting in line for poutine at the concession stand. Number 46, 1950. The first televised New Year's Day football games reach America's living rooms. Coaches become yelling furniture. Referees gain immortality. Nobody agrees on the call. Nothing changes after that. Number 45, 1955. Elvis Presley headlines New Year's performances as a cultural earthquake. Parents hear hips moving through the television. Morality clutches its pearls. Social propriety crosses its legs tightly. Teenagers immediately choose sides. Number 44, 1958. The NHL introduces winter holiday scheduling as a rating strategy. Cold meets colder. Teeth are lost festively. Canada nods approvingly while still waiting in line for poutine at the concession stand. Number 43, 1960. The Rose Bowl becomes a full-blown television spectacle. Parades, football, sunshine, and denial all unite in a new midwinter American bacchanalia. January pretends it is spring. Weather objects only much later. Number 42, 1949. Hollywood releases prestige film timed for New Year's acclaim. Oscar bait learns to swim upstream. Critics sharpen their knives. Audiences pretend to be cultured. Number 41, 1959. The Soviet Union launches a New Year propaganda blitz celebrating its technological dominance. Champagne pops behind the Iron Curtain. Everyone pretends this is permanent. History checks its watch. Number 40, 1919. The Treaty of Versailles looms over the first New Year after the First World War. Peace is declared with confidence and bad math. Everyone congratulates themselves. The bill is deferred. Number 39, 1933. Adolf Hitler uses New Year addresses to frame destiny as policy. Rhetoric stretches itself into inevitability. Crowds applaud momentum. History quietly starts packing sandbags. Number 38, 1946. The United Nations opens its first full year with ceremonial optimism. Diplomacy believes it has learned its lessons. Veto power lurks backstage. Hope signs the charter anyway. Number 37, 1951. American television leans hard into New Year's variety specials. Celebrities sing outside their range. Comedy wears a tuxedo. Nobody admits that this is strange. Number 36, 1920. Prohibition greets the new year fully operational. America resolves to stop drinking forever. Bootleggers stretch. Glassware weeps. Number 35, 1954. Sports leagues market New Year's games as moral renewal. Athletes sweat out last year's sins. Fans absolve nothing. Scoreboards remain judgmental. Number 34, 1930. Economic forecasts predict recovery in the new year. Charts are optimistic. Breadlines are less so. Confidence is a renewable resource. Number 33, 1941. Franklin Roosevelt frames New Year's resolve as a national duty. Sacrifice is rebranded as virtue. The language hardens. The country listens with a grumbly stomach. Number 32, 1960. Television news declares the modern decade is going to be modern. The incoming decade. Haircuts comply immediately. Expectations spike. Reality sharpens its knives. Number 31, 1956. A new year arrives with nuclear weapons fully normalized. Fireworks feel redundant. Midnight passes quietly. The apocalypse is now a standing appointment. Number 30, 1914, Europe welcomes the new year convinced that the war is going to be over by spring. Optimism is issued in bulk. Trenches quietly disagree. Calendars prove non-binding. Number 29, 1959, Fidel Castro enters Havana on New Year's Day. Revolution declares victory before the hangover wears off. Hope is nationalized immediately. The receipt is non-refundable. Number 28, 1935, the Hoover Dam begins delivering power as a symbol of modern triumph. Nature is officially subdued. Engineers nod approvingly. Hubris hums at industrial voltage. Number 27, 1942, Rose Bowl officials move the game away from Pasadena out of wartime fear. College football adapts to geopolitics. Tradition blinks. The marching bands regroup. Number 26, 1929. New Year's Eve parties roar in defiance of economic anxiety. Champagne flows in defiance of the Volstead Act. Stock tickers twitch. Denial is carbonated. Number 25, 1950. Television broadcasts New Year's celebrations from coast to coast. Humanity agrees to watch itself celebrate. Performative joy enters syndication. The audience applauds right on cue. Number 24, 1937, Hollywood releases prestige films timed for the new year. Awards are pre-negotiated. Art is carefully calibrated. Magic wears a press kit. Number 23, 1918, the world welcomes a new year while influenza still rages. Public optimism outpaces medical reality. Parades proceed anyway. Germs remain unimpressed. Number 22, 1960. John F. Kennedy frames the new year as generational renewal. Youth becomes policy. Idealism gets a haircut. The future clears its throat. Number 21, 1938. Radio listeners ring in the new year, trusting the voices that they hear. Authority sounds friendly. Certainty is broadcast each night. The microphone learns that it can lie. Number 20, 1901. Queen Victoria's death just after the new year ends the Victorian era on a technicality. An entire age overstays its welcome by just a few hours. Mourning becomes mandatory. Modernity waits impatiently outside. Number 19, 1958. Bobby Fischer wins the U.S. Chess Championship over New Year's. A teenager announces himself as Destiny. Genius arrives early. Stability departs immediately. Number 18, 1934. The NCAA quietly begins formalizing bowl games as New Year's institutions. College football discovers pageantry as policy. Tradition hardens. Mediocrity receives matching jackets. Number 17, 1917. Vladimir Lenin spends New Year's in revolutionary exile, still convinced that history owes him momentum. Ideology sharpens its knives. Patience runs out. The calendar stops being neutral. Number 16, 1948. The first televised New Year's Eve celebration reaches living rooms nationwide. Time becomes a shared performance. Midnight is now a broadcast event. Privacy officially loses the argument. Number 15, 1960. The U.S. Census frames the new year as proof of unstoppable growth. Numbers swell confidently. Infrastructure sweats nervously. Optimism is printed in bold. Number 14, 1939. European leaders welcome the new year, issuing statements of resolve. Words do all the work that they can. Armies continue stretching. Reality refuses subtitles. Number 13, 1957. The Soviet Union enters the new year with Sputnik still overhead, and so, for that matter, does the United States. The sky now participates in geopolitics. Confidence shifts orbital lanes. Gravity becomes ideological. Number 12, 1927. Hollywood stars ring in the new year as silent film collapses beneath their feet. Careers freeze in mid-toast. Dialogue arrives uninvited. Charisma must suddenly speak, often in a squeaky, rather unpleasant voice. Number 11, 1945. The world greets its first new year of peace with exhausted relief and unanswered questions. Victory tastes thin. The future refuses to clarify itself. History exhales and keeps watching. Number 10, 1919. The world rings in the new year believing the Great War has taught it a valuable lesson. Leaders speak solemnly of sacrifice and remembrance and never doing this again. Maps are redrawn with confident hands and zero humility. This is the moment humanity mistakes trauma for wisdom. Peace is declared. Lessons are assumed to have been learned, and history immediately begins sharpening a sequel. The calendar flips. The bill remains unpaid. Number 9, 1959. Times Square hosts a New Year's Eve celebration fully optimized for television spectacle. Crowds cheer right on cue. Confetti achieves air superiority. Joy is no longer spontaneous. It is scheduled, rehearsed, and lit from 3 different angles. This is when celebration stops being something you do and becomes something you perform for strangers. Midnight hits, authenticity quietly exits through a service door. Number 8, 1933. Germany enters the new year with Adolf Hitler newly appointed chancellor. Promises are made about renewal, order, and destiny. Crowds mistake momentum for meaning. The language of inevitability does most of the heavy lifting. This is the moment history gives power to a man because he sounds so very certain. Confidence wins the election. The cost is deferred. Number 7, 1960. The decade opens with unshakable faith in technology, youth, and progress. The future is marketed as clean, efficient, and obedient. Plastic, rockets, and optimism all share a cocktail. Nobody asks about the consequences. This New Year's isn't naive, it is arrogant. Modernity doesn't knock, and it assumes consent. Number 6, 1942. The world welcomes the new year in the middle of a global war. Governments issue messages of hope calibrated to morale spreadsheets. Families toast absent chairs. Optimism becomes an act of defiance. This is not celebration. It is endurance dressed up as tradition. Midnight passes, and the war does not notice. Number 5, 1929. New Year's Eve parties explode across America as the decade peaks. Champagne flows and bands swing. Confidence roars loudly enough to drown out the sound of the floor slowly giving way. Within months, the whole illusion collapses. This is history's most expensive toast. Denial, clinking glasses with destiny. Number 4, 1914. Europe enters the new year convinced that the war is going to be a short war. Politicians promise resolution, generals promise glory, calendars promise closure. They cannot deliver. This is optimism weaponized against reality. Anyway, midnight strikes, the clock does not reset. Number 2, 31 December, every single year. The ritual itself. Resolutions declared by people who will not keep them, cheered by people who do not believe them. Gymnasiums fill, hope spikes, reality sets a reminder. This is the annual ceremony where humanity insists that tomorrow will fix what the last 12 months of bad impulse control did not. The calendar flips, and we remain ourselves. And finally, number 1, the 1st of January, 1 AD. Christian civilization begins counting time from a chosen point, and it never looks back. Meanwhile, the Jews and the Asians scoff at the idea of resetting the calendar, and they go on doing things as they have always done. The Arabs decide they don't want to reset time for at least another 600 years, and they set their snooze alarm accordingly. History is framed, centered, and standardized. Everything before becomes before. Everything after becomes inevitable. This is the most audacious act of narrative control that's ever been attempted. Time itself is colonized, and every new year since then is just us checking the math and hoping it works. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. We're done. We have dispensed with the last and final opening monologue of 2025. We hope you found it every bit as titillating as we did, and with that, I now convey you into the capable custody of my distinguished colleague, your illustrious co-host, a man you will never catch wearing those funny glasses shaped like numbers on New Year's Eve, the one and only, your friend and mine, Mr. Caucasian Sasquatch.